Hi guys, I'm the Dutch Movie Guy, and today I'm reviewing my favorite movie of all time, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. No. I can't. Look, Attack of the Clones is far from my favorite movie of all time. Anyway, I'm doing reviews for a lot of Star Wars related things, everything in the new canon. I reviewed Phantom Menace, I reviewed the Obi-Wan and Anakin comic. If you've missed my reviews for those, you can click right here, because you probably should know what I think about those going into Attack of the Clones. So, Attack of the Clones was the second Star Wars prequel, and this is, by far, my most hated movie of all time. I can't sugarcoat it. I can't say anything better about it than say what it is. It is my most hated movie of all time. Phantom Menace had some decent things in there. Phantom Menace had some things that I was like, okay, it's good. Attack of the Clones was a lot harder. Attack of the Clones tired me. Rewatching it again the other day, I was like, holy crap, this movie pisses me off to no end. There are so many things in this movie that are just so incredibly, insultingly bad. Look, I was positive with my Phantom Menace review, and I'll definitely be positive with my Revenge of the Sith review. I actually quite like that movie. And I will say the good things about Attack of the Clones, but don't get your hopes up. This movie review is mostly bashing on this piece of garbage. So I will begin saying the good things about this movie. Like, I will say that there are certain minor things I think this movie did well. But before I go into that, this review will contain spoilers. This movie has been out for like 15 years. You should have seen it. Spoiler alert, you have been warned. So when I say the good things about this movie, most of them are actually things that all the Star Wars movies did good, or Phantom Menace already did good. So like one of those things is the sound design. Once again, Ben Burtt, the guy can make great sound, and one of my favorite sounds ever in Star Wars is in this movie, which is weird, I know, but like the seismic charge in the asteroid field. I hate the scene. I will get into why I hate the scene later. The sound of the seismic charge. Oh, it's so good. Of course, John Williams' score. You can never go wrong with John Williams' score. He always makes a great score for Star Wars. Like, all the 7 movies he scored are phenomenal in terms of how it's scored. And like, Across the Stars is one of my favorite all-time Star Wars themes. I mean, I hate the love story that it is about, but I love the music. Just like Phantom Menace, I liked some of the designs. I thought the design of Camino was great. I thought the Kaminoans themselves, the design for it was good. And I think the Jedi Starfighter looks pretty cool. And again, Ian McDiarmid and Ewan McGregor did a great job as Palpatine and Obi-Wan. I mean, those two actors are the only two good actors in all 3 prequel movies. And then there are some things that Attack of the Clones does do well that other movies didn't already do in their overall things. One of the things is the death sticks scene.
You want to buy some death sticks?
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
I mean, it's just funny. It always makes me laugh. It's like one good thing in an overall, again, shit scene. But I'll get into the shit later. I think I would have liked this movie a lot better if it would have just been the death stick scene for 2 hours and 20 minutes on replay. That would have been a lot better than this actual movie, you know. And this is something that, yeah, you can't really say it's a good thing about the movie, but I'll say it. Natalie Portman is eye candy. I mean, Natalie Portman is gorgeous. Especially in this movie. She wears the sexiest outfits, and I'm like, sure. I like it. I mean, I'm a guy. I can't really blame me for it. So it's like, yeah, Natalie Portman is good to look at. And there's some cool foreshadowing. Like, you already see the Death Star. That's pretty cool. Like, you see the designs of the Death Star and that it already started right here. And at the end, when you have Dooku coming on Coruscant and talking to Sidious, I think that's cool. And that's it. That is all the things that I could think of when I was watching this movie. Like, okay, I have to be the most positive I can possibly be. That's the most positive I can possibly be about this movie. Believe me. Seriously, this movie is just overall garbage. It's absolute shit. Where do we even begin? I think I'll just begin with the crawl, just like my review for Phantom Menace and just like how this movie starts. It begins with the crawl. This is the first line of the crawl. There is unrest in the Galactic Senate. When you read that and you've seen the Phantom Menace, you're like, oh my god, are we going to get boring politics again? Are we going to have people sitting around in a circle or standing in a circle again and talk about boring ass politics? Yeah, pretty much. Again. I mean, this movie does have a little less circular settings. Like, if you watch the honest trailer of Attack of the Clones, they say people standing and talking, sitting and talking, one person sitting while the other one is standing and they are talking. That's this movie. People walking and talking. Yoda in his flying pod talking to Windu and Obi-Wan. Expository dialogue for... I don't even know why there's so many expository dialogue. Now, the thing that the original Star Wars movies did the best, and Phantom Menace for some part did as well, is actual sets and locations. The only locations used in Attack of the Clones are Tatooine, when they went to the desert, when they actually went back to the set of the original Star Wars, and they went to Rome, I believe, for Naboo. And that's it. The rest is made in a green screen studio. And it's so obvious that it's made in a green screen studio because now it looks so dated and it takes me out of it, and I'm like, it looks so fake. Everything looks fake. The environments look fake. I mean, I said I like the design of Camino. It looks fake as shit when you have Ewan McGregor as the only real thing walking there. It's just fake and CG and green screen, and it's like, why couldn't you just make something like the original Star Wars? You did it before, why can't you do it again? Now, let's talk a little bit about the Jedi in this movie. Jedi are boring and stupid. In the original trilogy, we are led to believe the Jedi are the guardians of peace and justice. And they go to war, and they become generals. Fucking generals, that's a military rank. That's not guardians of peace and justice. For fuck's sake! What the fuck were they thinking? Jedi are stupid in this movie. I mean, Mace Windu, Samuel L. Jackson, great actor. Horrible in this movie. What the fuck happened? Talking about our main Jedi of this movie, Anakin and Obi-Wan. I reviewed the comic, Obi-Wan and Anakin, where I said they went on a mission together. The first time you see them in this movie, they're going in an elevator and talk about a mission they went on together, and I'm like, why can't I see that mission? Oh, because this movie is just horrible, and we don't actually have good things like Obi-Wan and Anakin having actual chemistry together, making us believe they're friends. This movie is so tiring. Honestly, it's so tiring. These prequel movies should have been the origin story of Darth Vader. It should have told us who Darth Vader was, why he was trained by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and how that came to be, and why they are good friends. And this movie does nothing to enhance my perception of that. If anything, it ruins Darth Vader, because Hayden Christensen is a horrible actor who just doesn't know how to deliver dialogue. And to be fair, that's mostly due to George Lucas's poor directing, because George Lucas isn't much of an actor's director, but like, this was horrible, dude. Funny thing, the other day I came across a story that it almost was Leonardo DiCaprio who was Anakin. Can you imagine how awesome it would have been if Leo DiCaprio was Anakin? Then you would actually have a great actor. But instead we got Hayden. And I already said, this movie has a fuck ton of expository dialogue, and the dialogue is horribly written. It's like hardly anything in this movie makes me believe that people are actually talking to each other like they're people. It really gets bad with the love story. I mean, this is the worst love story in cinematic history. The worst ever. This is an actual line of the movie. I don't like sand. It's rough and coarse, and irritating, and it gets everywhere. What the fuck were they thinking? Fucking sand! And you know what happens right after Anakin says that to Padme? They kiss! Why? 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 God, why? This movie is so horrible. And then you have the scene in front of the fireplace where it just look. You see how hot Padme looks. As I said, Padme is eye candy. Padme is there with her bosom like pushed out. She is hot, and Anakin is saying these things that I'm like, dude, if a chick like that would sit in front of you, you would not say those things. You would just not. It's just, there is nothing believable about that. It's just so terrible. I mean, oh, Jesus Christ. And now you could think that this movie is better than The Phantom Menace in terms of kid actors, right? Because you don't have Jake Lloyd. You actually get worse. You get the scene where Yoda is teaching kids. Those kids are even worse than Jake Lloyd, and I'm happy that it's just one small scene, but like, what the fuck happened there? And the funny thing is, I found out that they rewrote the entire script to force Camino in it to have Boba Fett in the movie. Look, I love Boba Fett. I thought he was badass in Empire Strikes Back and then butchered in Return of the Jedi, and then he returned in some comics and novels that I was like, okay, he's pretty cool actually. And then you cast a kid who has not seen a Star Wars movie up until the point that he got casted. What? The kid has not seen a Star Wars movie when he is cast in a Star Wars movie? Are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck is this shit? I mean, what the fucking shit? Oh my God. I can't, oh, this movie tires me so much. It just tires me so much. I cannot believe this. There are a few action scenes in this movie, right? That's what you would want in a Star Wars movie, to have some action. These are some of the worst action scenes ever put to the big screen. Just some of the worst ever. First off, chase above Coruscant. Obi-Wan, completely out of character, jumps out of the window onto a pod. And he has no idea if the pod is going to carry him and what is going to happen then. Look, if that would have been Anakin jumping out of the window, that would have been a little bit more like Anakin's character, because Anakin is a little bit more reckless. Obi-Wan is not that reckless. It's completely out of character. It's bullshit. And then you have a chase where they basically feel like superheroes, because everything that is thrown at them, they survive. And even when Anakin loses his lightsaber, Obi-Wan is like, oh no, I got it. And the one they are tracing is Sam Wessel. And I'm like, why the fuck did you put Sam Wessel in this movie? It should have been Django that they should have been chasing there. It's like, that would have made for an actual character of Django. But no, we gotta stick with Sam Wessel because this movie's still terrible. In the end, that scene is just dragged out, feels stakeless, and it's pointless. The second one is Obi-Wan versus Jango Fett, and I will give credit, this is one of the more enjoyable fights in this movie. This actually has some cool things, like Obi-Wan fighting Jango is kind of cool. It's not dragged out, but the issues I have with it is, once again, Obi-Wan feels like a superhero. There are 2 blasts he gets right in front of him, like first the blast of Jango's backpack and then the blast of the Slave One firing at him right in front of him, and he's not dead. It's like, what? And then you have the moment that he clangs onto the cable. That cable should have torn his hand off, and he should have just fallen. I mean, the force is like, your hand should have been cut off by that cable. So it's stupid. And it's very CG. Very CG. I can really see a lot of CG green screen things, and it's like, why couldn't we just make a platform outside in the rain and have an actual fight between these guys instead of having everything on a green screen studio? Because it's a Star Wars prequel. Moving on. The next scene, the next action kind of scene, probably is the worst of all, because I hate this with every bone of my body, because it goes against everything in Empire Strikes Back. In Empire Strikes Back, when they enter the asteroid field, 3PO says, "Sir, the chances of surviving an asteroid field are approximately 3,720 to 1. 3,720 to 1. And what is the outcome of that chase? 4 TIE fighters that went after the Falcon get destroyed. Because it's an asteroid field. You should not easily get through that, and the only reason Han gets through it is because Han is a great fucking pilot. We know Obi-Wan is not that good of a pilot. He survives. We don't know anything about Jango Fett. It's like an assumption that he's a good pilot, but we don't know anything. It's not been set up at all. And he survives. So, in Empire Strikes Back, 3,720 to 1. 5 go in, 1 comes out. Yeah, that makes sense. In this movie, 2 go in and 2 survive. That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. That goes against everything about what I love about The Empire Strikes Back in that asteroid field chase. That's an awesome scene, and this kind of ruins it. So, fuck this scene. The next action scene is actually the lack of one. We get a scene where Anakin's mom dies. Which probably is the best acting that Hayden Christensen has done in this movie. When he looks up from his dead mom, you're like, whoa, this guy is going to do some shit. This is actually good acting by Hayden. And it's like, this is going to be awesome. He comes out of the tent, doom, doom, to dad. I'm like, I want to see this scene. And then it wipes away and it's like, that would have, but why? Why did you go away from that scene? That would have made for the best scene ever. And you go away. It's like that scene would have shown Darth Vader. And you don't see it. And what do you get instead? What do you get instead? Because this is what you get instead. Right after, when Anakin is back at the house, he tells Padme about it. Once again, we don't see the things that happen. They explain it. Why? Why? What? Why? I don't get this shit. I honestly do not get this shit. It's how terrible is this garbage piece of a movie? It tires me so much. I just do not get this. I honestly do not get this. Let's move on. Then we get the scene in the droid factory, which arguably is the worst scene of the movie. It's a scene where Natalie Portman, I've seen the behind the stuff footage where she has to duck and make sure she gets through it. It looks really awkward. It looks really weird to see her move through that, first of all. Hayden Christensen, not a lot better than Natalie Portman. It's like awkward, weird. But the worst thing, by far, in the entire scene, is how they ruined the droids. The two droids. 3PO getting blasted in The Empire Strikes Back was not funny. Was emotional. 3PO getting decapitated in this movie, being attached to a droid made for comedic effect, is not funny, not dramatic, it's stupid. It ruins 3PO. But the worst thing about this entire fucking scene goes against anything in the original trilogy. R2 is able to fly. Oh, this movie tires me so much. Look, I won't go into details. I just assume you know how fucking stupid it is that R2 flies, you know. So that. Alright. Next action scene starts off pretty cool. I'll say that. It's really CG and green screen, but I'll say it's cool. Because it starts off with Obi-Wan, Padme, Anakin being attached to the poles, having to survive from some beasts. And like, the beasts are pretty CG, but besides that, it's a pretty cool scene. It's pretty cool that it starts off with those three against the beast. That makes for a cool scene. When the Jedi come in though, it goes downhill. It really goes like, oh shit, what are we going to see here? Are we going to see all the Jedi? Yeah, we're going to see all the Jedi. And at first you're like, this is kind of cool. But then you realize why it's not that cool. They kind of ruined the mysteriousness, the awesomeness of the lightsaber. In the original trilogy, there are max 2 lightsabers. The first movie you have Obi-Wan and Darth Vader use a lightsaber and fighting. Then the second movie you have Luke and Vader use the lightsaber. And then in the third, again, Luke and Vader use the lightsaber. And that's it in terms of lightsaber use. That makes for the lightsaber to have some kind of mystery, some kind of specialness to it. In this movie, everyone has a lightsaber. Even when Anakin and Obi-Wan don't have a lightsaber anymore, the Jedi come up and, oh, here, you get a spare lightsaber and just use it. It's like, no, God, no, just no. It just doesn't work. And besides that, you have a lot of slapstick between 3PO and R2. It's terrible. Just like the original trilogy, they butcher the Fett because Jango was decapitated by Windu, and it's like, okay, that's it. And yeah, I just don't like the scene. Then you get the next action scene, which is the beginning of the war on Geonosis. You get the battle on Geonosis between the clones and droids. CG, green screen, stakeless, stupid, like the rest of the movie. Move on. I have to finish this review with the worst lightsaber battle in Star Wars history. Oh boy. Where do we even start? Dooku is 80 years old. 80. Most of the time in the lightsaber battle you even see the stuntman. You don't even see Christopher Lee. You can really clearly see that his face is not Dooku, that is just a stuntman. And it's like, you know why an 80-year-old can't move that fast? He's fucking 80 years old! 80! He can't move around as fast as the 20 and 30-year-old Anakin and Obi-Wan. No, he's 80! He should not be fighting this fast. It's like, fuck the fuck off. But if you think that already is bad, it gets even worse. I will give credit. I have to give credit because I have to say the most positive I possibly can about this movie, and that is when Yoda walks in and actually uses his force powers. Like, Dooku is like the ceiling on him. No, does nothing at all. Using the Force lightning. No, does not. It's like Yoda is a badass. That's what we know from The Empire Strikes Back. He can just stand somewhere, use his fingers, and make things move. And it's like, that is why Yoda is awesome. Not because he has a lightsaber. Just not. Don't give him. They ruined Yoda. They fucking ruined Yoda by giving him a fucking lightsaber. This movie tires me so much. But you know what? I'm done. I'm done with this. Attack of the Clones is my most hated movie of all time. It's not the worst movie I've seen. I recognize there are worse movies out there. I hate this movie with every bone of my body. I fucking hate it. 2 out of 10. And that's just because the worst movies that I have seen are actual ones with nothing redeeming. This had something, but honestly, I cannot even. It's like, do not talk to me about this movie being good in any shape, way, or form. It's like, this movie is horrible and do not talk to me about it. So please do not leave your comments about if you like this movie or not. I don't want to know. I honestly, when I see someone actually saying, no, Attack of the Clones is a good movie, I want to break everything in my room. It's like, you don't know how terrible this movie is. You just don't. It's like, I cannot believe people liking this. I just cannot. I honestly cannot. And that's something personal. I am passionate about this, about these sort of things. I am passionate about Star Wars. I love most of Star Wars, you know, but this movie is just, oh, it's so bad. It's just so fucking bad. And that's really all I can say about it. Look, I already have my review up for the Clone Wars TV series on my channel. If you've missed that, you can click right here to see that. In a few weeks, when I finish watching Clone Wars again, I will read Dark Disciple, which is a novel that comes between Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, and then I'll review it spoiler free, so don't worry about that if you've not read it. And then I will finish my review by saying, guys, I'm done with this shit. And if you've liked my review and you want to see more of my movie, trailer, and Star Wars reviews, click right here.